Hour.
You guys going to happy hour?
Live from the Coppel Chevrolet GMC studios in the heart of Lincoln, America.
Yeah, maybe I'll come for a couple.
Here are your hosts, Nick Sainert.
I want to know what it's like to commit a crime without having to spend time in jail.
And Enrique Alvarez Clary.
C is for chunk.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Good afternoon. Happy Tuesday. This is the Happy Hour, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez Clary are with you today. Hello, Rico.
Hello.
How's it going, man?
It's going all right. How about you? How are you doing? Why is the camera at a different angle, Nick? Nicholas, what's happening?
You're just going to out me right away.
100% right away.
So, a little bit of a disclaimer before we get going here.
Personal news.
Yes. Inside the life of Nick. If you hear me in the background going like that,
disgusting. Please don't.
First of all, I apologize in advance. Second of all, I had some dentistry work done today up in the top right corner of my mouth, and that whole side is numb.
He can't smile right.
So when I smile,
it's really funny.
It's like the what was it? On The Dark Knight, when half of his face is burnt off.
Half face.
Yes, and you can only see the teeth on one side.
Mm-hmm.
That is what I look like when I smile.
Is it like half of Tim Allen in what's that Christmas movie?
Santa Claus?
No, it is. Oh my goodness, it's a great movie, and like Christmas with the Cranks.
Ooh, I haven't seen that one in a while.
When he gets the Botox because they're gonna go to Hawaii.
Yes, I know
he's
the
trying
movie.
to eat like the fruit, and he's just like.
Yeah, so basically when I'm smiling, you can only see my left side of my mouth.
He goes like this.
Yeah, because my whole right side just droops down.
I
tried to drink out of my water bottle before the show began.
He's like, I can't drink.
I can't drink out of my water bottle, so I have to figure out ways to adjust here. And then Thursday, I'm getting the same stuff done on my left side, so it's just going to be completely flipped. So we'll have the other camera on. But I was trying to eat pizza earlier today. After I left the dentist office.
Did you you know what? Never mind. I was gonna get into the dentistry. I was gonna say, did you get fillings?
Yeah. I had a couple cavities. Okay. So disclaimer, part 2. Haven't been to the dentist in like 6 or 7 years. So there's just, gotta get some
Sometimes you gotta go to the dentist. I encourage all of you, go to the dentist. Take care of your beautiful smiles.
Yeah, it was all good. So, and then I got fitted for like this whitening stuff as well. But
okay,
yeah, it was all chill. But yeah, so I got to get that taken care of. But that's why the camera, if you're on the Sutter Hammond Jewelers video stream, is at a different angle. I should be able to talk fine because it's not like the numbing hasn't affected my tongue.
If you get it on the bottom part of your mouth, if you get dentistry work down there, then your tongue gets numb and then you can't talk.
Yeah, both days it's just upper teeth work. So we should be okay. But I just wanted to throw a little disclaimer out there for why I
may sound a little weird.
May sound different, or I may think I sound different when I don't.
He's
so
self-conscious.
Oh, absolutely. Big time. As always, 402-464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline, Sutter Hammond text line, both those open for you all hour long, as well as the video stream, Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. As well as Twitter. At Radio Rico AC and at Nick_Sainert. I knew there was one more that I wanted to do today. So we kind of spent all day yesterday talking basketball. I know everything is going on right now. There's a lot of stuff out there. I'm not going to address any of that because I don't know.
There are some rumors that we
cannot
cannot substantiate. Therefore, we will not talk about them.
Unfortunately. So whenever something's official, we'll worry about that. When that day comes, we'll see what happens in the near future or far future, whatever happens. I do know Nebraska basketball has a week off that they
desperately need.
Yeah, absolutely. If any program in the Husker athletic department needs it, it's them. And so now they get a week off and they get to regroup, hopefully get in the gym. I know they're still dealing with some sickness, so hopefully they're working on some individual work. They'll figure that out and start to find their shot, which is basically all they need to. That's all they can do when they're a shooting basketball team. So we'll also be joined by Jacob Padilla of Hale Varsity at 2:30, as we are every Tuesday. And we'll ask him that. We'll ask him what's next for Nebraska. Is it too early to push the panic button? on this program, on this team, I should say, not program, but then also the Fred Hoiberg era, because you talk about expectations in terms of football and the football program, but now here we are, and you're 5-6 in Husker men's basketball in a season that, frankly, me personally, I thought this was an NCAA bubble caliber type team.
I believe that they were an NIT type, and kind of, at some point in the season, you were considering, hey, this team might make it to the NCAA tournament. But I was 100% on board with this team finishes over 500 and actually has, a good record and multiple good showings throughout the season. And as of right now, I am not sure about that. I believe that they will get one team that they're not supposed to beat. And, they'll shoot the lights out that day and they'll win that game. And then probably the very next game, they shoot and make like 3 3-pointers. That's just what this team is right now, is you can't really trust their shooting despite being a team full of shooters. You can't trust them to shoot and make their shots. So what they have to do and what they're not doing is hustling after the basketball on every single play, hustling on defense and getting into position and making life as difficult as they can for the other team, because they're not going to score many points. So they have to make it so the other team doesn't score much. And right now they are allowing teams to score a lot and not scoring at all.
Now, with that being said, just like Rico and I said yesterday many times, there's a lot of season left, lots of season left. And so that's where I'm hesitant to hit the panic button, because they're not even into the bulk of their conference slate yet. And so, but with that being said, the last 2 games specifically have not gone well. And I'm sure anybody on that staff will tell you that. Anybody on that team within that program will tell you that the last 2 games, if they could do them over, they would, in a heartbeat. And they feel confident. Now, you also have to take into account the things that I always talk about controlling the things you can control. And you have to look at the things that they haven't been able to control. And it's the things like sickness and the whole influenza stuff going around. Like, that stuff just happens. Also, Matt Abdelmassi taking a leave of absence, that stuff just happens. That's nothing that the players can control. And so this program, this team has already been thrown a couple curveballs less than 11 games into the season. Now they're 11, but all that stuff came in 9 or 10 games into the season, while still being a relatively young team. And so there's ways we can talk about it, what it means for the future, but we don't need to really get into that right now, because there is a lot of season left, and we'll ask Jacob Padilla that of Hail Varsity here at 2:30. Now, I want to get in. I wanted to get to this yesterday, but we kind of started rolling with the Husker women's basketball and volleyball discussion, which I'm glad we touched on that.
Give them a number.
Yeah,
just do it.
They have a Husker women's basketball has a tough stretch coming up. Michigan State, Michigan, Iowa are all three of the next 5 games, I believe. And they have opportunities ahead, similar to men's basketball, similar to every other program at Nebraska. 402-464-5685, Honda of Lincoln Hotline, Starter Heyman text line. Give me your thoughts here. Rico and I kind of want to get into this Nebraska quarterback discussion a little bit. We haven't been able to get into it in depth, and I kind of want to do that here for the first segment. We have about 15 minutes until we have to take our break. But I'm curious, because yesterday, obviously Spencer Rattler is now going to South Carolina, the other USC, as his head coaches. I saw Michael Penix Jr. is going to Washington.
Yes.
Now there were 3 quarterbacks yesterday that entered the portal: Keydon Slovis, Bo Nix, and Zach Calzada from Texas A&M, the Texas A&M starter. Those 3 entered the portal yesterday. And I'm curious to know what your guys' thoughts are on this, because there's ways, and yesterday I just kind of collected all my thoughts and threw them into it, and I'll kind of say them, and then Rico, we can kind of go whichever way you want to go with it.
All right, go ahead.
It was like you still need to have competition in that quarterback room. That's thought number 1. I mean, that was a huge criticism between Adrian Martinez, Luke McCaffrey, and maybe even Logan Smothers towards it. If you remember back to year 1, you had the little bit of competition between Tristan Gebbia and Adrian Martinez. Gebbia then transfers out, but you don't really know how much of a competition
before the season.
Yeah, you don't really know how much of a competition there was. We were told that there was a decent competition, but think about it. It was a completely new staff, and that Adrian Martinez was their first call. So you're skeptical about how much of a competition there really was. That's thought number 1. Number 2, this staff hasn't necessarily made it, or they've kind of made it known that they aren't fully confident in the guys behind them. Those are 2 guys, Logan Smothers and Heinrich Harburg, that they have had now in their full control for a couple seasons. 2 seasons for Logan, 1 for Heinrich.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I'm not sure that the fan base is confident in those guys behind him either, because we haven't seen them.
Yeah, it's hard to be confident in something that you haven't seen. So,
Bingo.
especially like you said, you had 2 seasons with Logan Smothers. You've had multiple injuries to Adrian Martinez, and multiple times where he has struggled mightily in games where you had opportunities to get your backup some playing time to just sit Martinez down and maybe talk to him a little bit and just see what's going on inside his head, what he's seeing, what's going on, and you just decided to leave him out there and feed him to the wolves practically in multiple games. So the confidence factor in the quarterbacks that were behind Adrian Martinez and Logan Smothers and Heinrich Harburg is not very high within the fan base. And I can't speak to the coaches, but it doesn't feel as if it was high with the previous coaching staff, with the previous quarterbacks coach and offensive coordinator. But with this coaching staff, I'm not sure how they feel about Logan Smothers. And the thought is they're going into the transfer portal to get a quarterback who will be the starting quarterback. But as you said, you might want to have a quarterback competition just to see if Logan Smothers can run whatever type of offense Mark Whipple wants to be running here at Nebraska.
So those were thoughts 1 and 2. Number 3, excuse me. How confident is the fan base in this coaching staff finding a guy to come in and lead this team?
It is.
Let's think about it. Think about it. I understand that there's a new staff, and this offensive coordinator is now a Broyles Award finalist, or however you want to say it. But don't forget, Troy Walters won the Broyles Award at UCF before he came to Nebraska, and that didn't work out. So I'm honestly, that Broyles Award stuff, I'm kind of throwing it to the side, because now what matters is what you do at Nebraska. And with that, I understand that there's new faces on that offensive staff, but at the top there's Scott Frost. That's the part that has not changed. Now, with an experienced guy, you guys have heard it before. You guys understand it. Does Scott Frost step back? Maybe. Does he not step back and stays hands-on? Maybe. But how confident are you guys in this staff, despite it being new faces with Scott Frost still at the top of everything? How confident are you in this staff finding a guy to come in and lead this team to at least 6 wins? Then number 4, the guys in the room. What does it mean for Logan Smothers? More importantly, how do you feel about all this if you are Logan Smothers? I think that's a part that is getting overlooked quite a bit.
That's a great question.
Because if you're Logan Smothers, you're saying, man, I felt like I played pretty well in the Iowa game. I was serviceable enough. We should have won that game at the end of the day. Had an opportunity at the end of the game to win it, down in the final drive or whatever. But if you're Logan also, you're saying, I've been here for two plus years.
They brought me in. They wanted me.
Yeah.
They said they wanted me
I chose this
to
place,
be the future.
I chose this place over a lot of places, and now they don't feel confident after helping me learn the playbook and being the number 2 guy for 2+ years or whatever. I understand Luke was behind him or in front of him in year 1, but now it's just, all right, Adrian's gone. Now we got to find a transfer portal quarterback to come in and either compete for the starting job or be the starter.
Be a bridge quarterback or push our current players in the room to new heights. Like that could be so touching on the how confident you are in the coaching staff and how confident the fans are in the coaching staff. I'm not sure with Scott Frost, because we've had 4 years of Scott Frost, and I'm not sure where my confidence meter is with him right now. But with Whipple and with Mickey Joseph and with Donovan Raiola right now, based on recent history, I'm pretty confident in Whipple getting somebody and having them play serviceable. Based on recent history, I'm pretty confident in Mickey Joseph getting these wide receivers to play at a not elite level, but a pretty high level. But he's taken receivers, elite receivers, and made them even more elite. I don't know what he can do with this current wide receiver room, because it's another thing. We don't know what we have in this current wide receiver room.
Well, and this is going to be kind of a harsh truth, but you got to have guys in that room that want to be there, that want to get better, that want to be coached. And I'm not saying that they don't want to be, but I'm saying that now they just got a new wide receivers coach. They have new offensive staff altogether. That's something that you have to take into account.
Mm-hmm.
The guys that are already in the room, no matter what the position group is, whether it's wide receivers, whether it's offensive line, whether it's running backs, the guys in that room, the athletes, you have to want to be coached.
And I'm sure they all want to be coached and they all want to get. I mean, especially being a wide receiver, like right now, being a wide receiver at Nebraska and having Mickey Joseph come in, you just look at what he's done with receivers down at LSU and how many receivers he's put into the NFL. If you think that you are a high level receiver, which you should, you're at a Power 5 Division I school. If you think you're a high level receiver and you think your end goal is to get to the league and provide for your family and, provide for yourself and prove that you're one of the best, this guy is the perfect guy for you. If you're just looking at recent history, at what he's done at LSU, you bring him in here. If you think you have the talent, he is one of the guys that will be able to bring that talent out of you and showcase it on the field. And with Whipple, you saw what he did at Pitt with Pickett and their receiver, the Blintnikoff Award winner. Yes. I can't think of his name right now,
Addison.
But yeah, Addison. You saw what he did with that guy. Those guys are both going. He's a Heisman finalist and the best receiver in the nation. Both of those guys are going to the NFL. Again, recent history shows that guy can coach. That guy can bring up the best in people. So if you're in those rooms, if you're in the quarterback room, if you're in the receiver room, if you're just in an offensive room, looking at those two and the success that they've had should make you feel as if that this is going to work and you should want to be coached by these two men.
We get this off the text line 402-464-5685. This is from an unnamed texter, and I'll ask a follow-up to this text actually. He says, or they say, Scott Frost stepping out of the call sheet is only a good thing. Need a three-phase leader, and he recognizes that. He needs to be engaged in the whole game, not just the offense. I have confidence in him and the new staff, but here's the question I have. Can't only measure the program by wins and losses. It's reductive and is what ruined our program in 2003. Follow-up question. What do you want this program to be measured by?
Yeah, that's what do you measure a program by if not wins and losses?
Because if it's progress, then last season, great. Last season, in terms of statistics, progress. It was good. But then you fire your whole offensive staff. And so you kind of feel like you took a couple steps back there because you don't know what this season's going to look like. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of question marks on the offense, including the quarterback that you got 14 out of your 15 wins as the head coach at Nebraska now is gone. You lose a couple running backs. You you may lose your center.
You lost your best receiver from this last season.
You
lost your best tight end.
You lose a lot of guys on defense as well. And so I'm curious. So they say right now it's progress. So then once again, and feel free to call in. We got a couple minutes here. How long can you measure it by progress?
Well, my question is what type of progress? Like what is the progress that we're going off of? Because I would argue that wins and losses is progress. If you're arguing that statistics is progress, then yes, they improved, but at some points it looked horrendous.
Yeah.
You're measuring it off of, and this might be, you're measuring it off of you played close games with high level opponents. And that could be one of the things, because in the time when you were winning 9 games, the high level opponents were your only losses and you were losing by a lot. But currently the progress you're showing against the high level opponents isn't showing against the lower level opponents. You're facing teams who on paper you are better than. In recent history, you haven't been better than them, but on paper you are better than them and you are still losing to them. So you're making progress against better teams, but against worse teams, you're staying the same.
OG Les Lancaster says this was the last season of, quote, progress. Next year is officially win or go home. Another unnamed texter says only thing that matters when millions of dollars are in play are wins and losses. It's a bottom line business. And you can relate that to Husker men's basketball, right? Kind of ironic how we can, not the parallel necessarily, but you can say the same thing, similar things about both programs. I don't want to tie it into that because this is a football discussion, but I just wanted to point that out.
I mean, that texter says you can't only measure by that. It's a bigger picture than that. So if we're taking all of it into account, okay? You're taking all of it into account: the wins, the losses, the statistics, and the keeping it close in games. If you take all of that into account, there still really hasn't been much progress since when Frost got here.
Here's the thing, and it's what I keep going back to when they talk about the bigger picture, and that's totally fine. Like I said a couple of days ago, if that's the lane, that's totally fine. Like I'll tell you my thoughts as well, and we can have a good conversation about it like we are. But here's what I keep going back to, and it's hard for me to get past this statistic, things that I can point to. And it's 1-3 against Purdue, 1-3 against Minnesota, 0-3 against Wisconsin, 0-4 against Iowa, and 0-3 against Wisconsin because 2020 got canceled.
Mm-hmm.
It's the similar things that Rico was just saying, that before, when Nebraska was having 9 wins, it was they're not beating the teams that they have a chance at beating, but they were beating the teams they were supposed to beat. Now you're not even beating the teams you're supposed to beat.
You're not beating anybody.
And now it's you're 2-2 against Illinois, 1-3 against Illinois. I don't know the statistics right off the top of my head. I know you've lost 2 games in a row to get Illinois, especially this season when you felt like you were the better team.
I want to say 2-2. They won the first year, then the second year they won. He put up a big game.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, 2-2,
and then you lost 2 in a row.
So I just wonder when you look at that, how long, when we talk about the bigger picture, how long are fans willing to settle on just having progress be good enough?
Playing hard and losing is still losing.
Mm-hmm.
Putting up good numbers and losing is still losing. And I love Adrian Martinez, but that's kind of what it was. He put up big numbers, and you would see flashes of greatness, but in the end, they would still lose. So when it all comes down to it, you can show as much progress as you want, but at the end of the day, it comes down to wins and losses.
Mm-hmm.
It comes down to, are you beating the teams you need to beat? Are you sneaking up and getting a team that you're not supposed to beat?
Let's head to Jacob Padilla. Next segment joins us from Hail Varsity.
The following is a test of the emergency alert system.
Follow Nick and Enrique on Twitter at Nick_Sainert and at Radio Rico AC. More of Happy Hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hi, this is Sean Callahan with Koppel Chevrolet GMC. New vehicle production has been increasing, but the lots will not be filling up anytime soon. In fact, most vehicles are being pre-sold and are leaving the same week as they arrive. If you want your new Chevrolet or GMC, this is a great time to build a vehicle and place an order. Our sales team will work right with you to build the exact vehicle you want. At Koppel, we appreciate your business and sell vehicles at a fair price. So come check us out or visit us online at koppelcars.com.
I was in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean when it happened. There was a sudden jolt and our submarine crashed on the seafloor. We were in total darkness.
That's Dr. Dejana Figueroa, a marine biologist and STEM teacher, talking about a deep sea dive she'll never forget.
It's funny, when I was a kid, I was afraid of the ocean. And there I was, 2 miles below the surface. But as a scientist, you prepare for that. Using our training and a little creativity, we fixed the sub and finished our experiments. The dive was just too important. Every dive gives us glimpses at things few people ever get to see. Glowing creatures, fiery undersea volcanoes. When we got back to the surface, I kissed the ground and called my mom, of course. But you know what? I wouldn't trade that dive for anything.
Dr. Figueroa uses her passion for STEM to discover new things and make the world a better place. She can STEM, so can you. Check out She Can STEM for more stories and inspiration. A message from the Ad Council.
If your home isn't delivering the year-round comfort you expect, call the experts at Bryant. Warm and cool, comfort and confidence. Bryant Air Conditioning and Heating. Call 467-1111.
Tune in all day Wednesday for 93.7 The Ticket's coverage of early National Signing Day. Sponsored by Members Own Credit Union and Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric. It's early National Signing Day this Wednesday on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hey, it's Sean Callahan, and football season is here, and Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill has food and drink specials every night for all the games. Enjoy jumbo pork tenderloin for $8.99 and 90-cent wings for Monday Night Football, or come for Thursday Night Football with chicken fried chicken, steak, or pork for just $9.99 and $20 Coors Light aluminum buckets. Watch college football on Saturdays with an Aggie sandwich for $9.99 and Coors Light specials, and catch NFL Sundays with Bloody Marys and more. That's Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill.
At Southeast Community College, we know that winter isn't even here yet, but spring is already on our minds. Registration for the spring 2022 semester is open now. Whether you want to get a head start on a 4-year degree, learn a new trade with a certificate program, or add to your job skills, SCC has a class for you. Spring semester starts January 10th. Learn more about our more than 60 programs of study online at southeast.edu. SCC, your path to possible.
Serve Nebraska believes that volunteers are part of what makes Nebraska great. Each year, the Step Forward Awards honors volunteers from across the state who serve their communities in outstanding ways. In 2021, the Step Forward Awards has been postponed to December 9th and moved to a virtual space. Join us in thanking volunteers for all they do by tuning in to the virtual Step Forward Awards celebration. Visit serve.nebraska.gov to register. Paid for by Serve Nebraska, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
A beautiful December day. We'll see a mix of sun and clouds, top out near 59 with a south wind at 10. Mostly cloudy skies tonight, a low dropping down to around 50. As we head into our Wednesday, a high wind warning in effect. South-southwest winds could gust over 60 miles per hour or reach a high of 70. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright from 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
One host has a red beard and thinning hair. The other also has a red beard and thinning hair. One host got married over the summer. So did the other one. One is a diehard fan of a sub-500 AL Central baseball team. So is the other. Can these two radio hosts do a show together without getting confused as to their own identity? The same couple. Happer and Schaefer. Weekday mornings from 8 to 11 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Man, we sure could use an easy win this season.
I hear ya. That's why I suggested to the wife that we go to Magical Lights of Seward, the area's largest and most entertaining drive-through Christmas light show.
So, by suggesting going to Magical Lights of Seward, you got a win?
Yeah, my wife said it was the best idea I'd had in a long time. The kids loved the dazzling light show, synced with traditional and modern Christmas music, and we had an affordable, fun family experience.
Get your win, too, by pre-ordering your tickets today at magicallightsofseward.com/ticket.
Now back to the happy hour with Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez Clary on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Back here on the happy hour, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Good conversation in the first segment there. Husker football, a little bit of Husker basketball stuff as well. But now it's time to make the transition to Husker Hoops Foley, 402-464-5685. We are joined on the Honda of Lincoln hotline by Jacob Padilla of Hale Varsity, as we are every Tuesday. Jacob, hello. How's everything going?
Hey, it's going pretty well. Getting ready to head up to Columbus for the rest of the week.
Yeah, I saw that. I mean, that's pretty impressive. Okay, let's start with volleyball then, real quick. Yeah, let's start at volleyball because that might be a little bit of a happier topic. I mean, just talk about that match against Texas on Saturday. Holy smokes! I mean, it was kind of the story of Allie Batenhorst and Lindsey Krause. Maddie Kubik didn't necessarily hit all that well in terms of percentage wise, but still played a big role. I know Lexi Rodriguez had 20 digs, as well. I mean, just talk about this program defying odds.
Yeah, and that's it. Really, Nebraska was waiting for this kind of a match all season. They were waiting for those freshman pins to really click at the same time.
Yeah,
and that's been a big problem for Nebraska. You've had maybe one hitter going, maybe one pin and one middle blocker going at the same time, but overall, the team has not had a lot of great matches where they've had multiple players hitting at a high percentage. And for the first time, really, when they needed it the most, these freshmen that John Cook has been trusting all season long, they've gone through multiple benchings. He's kind of rotated players in and out, but he went back to Batenhorst and Krause to start the NCAA tournament. And they didn't necessarily blow anybody away in the first few matches, but when Nebraska needed them most, they stepped up with their best collective match of the entire season. And that's what you have to have happen to get to this point. You've got to have players step up and give you their best on the biggest stage. And now we're seeing why those were the two highest rated outside hitters in the 2021 class.
We're speaking to Jacob Padilla of Hail Varsity, as we do every Tuesday, previewing Husker volleyball and hoops now. We get this question off the text line. Can you, by chance, preview what Pitt has before the Final Four begins? How does the Huskers match up with the Panthers?
Yeah, that's going to be the fun match so far. Fortunately, I haven't gotten to watch Pitt at all this season. Obviously, they're the number 3 seed. Nebraska was the only team that pulled off an upset in the regional finals. We got 1, 3, 4, and 10 seeds still playing. So that kind of points to the accomplishment that Nebraska put out there. But Pitt's a very good team. They took care of business against Purdue, who had been playing at a high level. Obviously, beat Wisconsin twice. They've got some really talented hitters. You look at them; they've got 3 different players averaging over 3 kills a game, and both the two hitting over 280. Now they're hitting 240. Cater Member Mena is their top outside hitter at 5'8", which is pretty impressive. So they're a pretty high-powered attack, and hitting over 286 on the season, holding teams to 187. So it's going to be a tough match, but no matter who you're going to face in the Final Four, that was always going to be the case.
I'm curious to get your thoughts, because I was asked this question a couple of days ago, and now I'm curious now because I've been thinking about it. Who is the most valuable player on the volleyball program? Not necessarily the best player, but who's the most valuable in terms of just finding success?
Well, that's a good question, because they're, defensively, Lexi Rodriguez was the player of the year in the conference on that side of the ball as a true freshman. And Nebraska had the best defense in the conference. But ultimately, it's going to be the setter. And it's not always on Nicklin Hames, and a lot of Nebraska's hitting issues this season. Sometimes it was bad passing. Sometimes it was whether the pins just made bad choices with their swings, or they just didn't really better the ball. So it wasn't always on Nicklin not putting the ball where it needed to be, but the setter is always going to be the most important player on the court. And when she's in a rhythm, that allows Nebraska to make use of all its various pins. And it does keep, when you're in system and the setter's playing well and she's getting the ball where she needs it, then she can keep the right side involved. That's where you can see Lindsey Krause having a big match where she got a good number of sets. You can see the middle is getting involved, because otherwise you're just kind of throwing the ball up to the left sides a lot of time. And that's where a lot of the sets go. So it's ultimately going to be the setter, but the setter can't play her best unless kind of everything around her is stepping up as well. So it's a difficult question to answer, but Nicklin Hames was the most outstanding player of Austin Regional for a reason.
How important was it to the development of these freshmen that that the two super seniors in Lexi Sun and Lauren Stivrins came back for one more season Lexi hasn't played much this season. She played earlier, but she hasn't played towards the middle and the end of the season. And Lauren was out towards the beginning as she was recovering from her back surgery. But how important to the development of these freshmen was it that those two super seniors came back and aided in them getting this far?
It was huge. I think the players, the younger players have talked about kind of the influence that those two have had. And I think Lexi's reaction after, just kind of you could capture, the cameras captured kind of the celebration for Nebraska. You could see just kind of the joy on her face, and just despite not playing in the NCAA tournament, Lexi was just kind of overcome with emotion for what the team had accomplished. And that's the kind of upperclassmen leadership that you need. That this season hasn't gone anything like what I'm sure Lexi expected or was hoping for when she decided to come back. But she was still kind of doing what she can in her role and buying into it and supporting her teammates. And then obviously Lauren isn't even admitted, like a few months after back surgery. I don't think anybody would be playing at 100%. She hasn't been the same consistent force that she was last year, but she's had some really big stretches. She showed up big in some moments, and just I think having her on the court makes a big difference for this team. I forgot who it was, and somebody said she's the only one on this team that has won a championship. She's the only one that's been to this point, has gotten to that final match. So just having her experience has been huge, I think, for these younger players that are going through it for the first time.
I think it speaks value as well to just kind of the people that they are in this team in general, knowing that they're okay embracing those kind of roles as well, especially Alexi Sun, a 3-time All-American. Let's go ahead and transfer over to Husker Hoops. I mean, just kind of a general question, another disappointing loss last Saturday against Auburn. I mean, now they have a week off, a week that they desperately probably need to not only get healthy, but try to find their shots and regroup. What's next for Husker Hoops? Where do they turn now?
That's a good question. Fred Berg said he was planning to make some changes this week to what they do to try to control things a little bit better, try to manufacture some more shots that hopefully they're going to be able to hit. He was hoping to make some changes after the Michigan game, but then too many players got sick to actually even fully practice, and they had the quick turnaround to head down to Atlanta, and that went poorly as well. And now obviously Wilhelm Breidenbach's going to be done for an extended period of time, so that's another guy that had been playing a significant role that won't be in the picture moving forward. So there's a lot of things that Hoiberg has to consider and kind of work through this week. And ultimately, I don't know that much will change unless they start shooting the ball at a better rate. I mean, I think the single most telling stat about this team right now is just looking on Synergy. Their catch and shoot, they are in the 1 percentile. They are shooting 23.9% on catch and shoot jumpers. And they are shooting 28.1% on unguarded catch and shoot jumpers. So that right there is pretty much sums it all up. They just, whether they get open shots or not, they can't make them. And this is a team built on putting shooters around your playmakers to try to create space and make life easier for them. But you look at it, Keisei Tominaga, 33.9%. CJ Wilcher and Kobe Webster, 33%. Lat Mayen, 23.5%. Wilhelm Breidenbach, 15%. Trevor Lake's in very small. He's only playing 5 games, but he's 1 of 6 in those 5 games. Keon Edwards is 0 for 12. And he was another guy that shooting was supposed to be a strength for him. So right now, and Bryce McGowan's himself, his jump shot hasn't really translated to the college level yet. He's shooting 20.4%. So all the guys that you brought in to be shooters, none of them are shooting well at this point. And ultimately, you don't have a lot of plan Bs or C or D right now because of the way that the roster has been built.
We're speaking to Jacob Padilla of Hale Varsity. And Jacob, You were just, I mean, you're touching on those numbers, and those are just amazingly bad numbers. Is there any way that Fred Hoiberg not switches up his offense completely, but gets these guys, driving to the rim? You've seen what Alonzo Verge can do when he gets to the rim, and he finishes at a high rate around the basket. And we've seen, Derek Walker shooting 80%. His only shots are from around the basket, and you have an extremely athletic, 5-star freshman in Bryce McGowens, who has shown the ability to finish really well there. Is there any way that these guys start driving more, and maybe that'll help them out around the arc?
Well, I think there's a little bit of that in what Hoiberg was talking about, trying to find a way to control the offense a little bit more and switch some things up to try to generate more offense. But ultimately, it's not as simple as making a decision to drive. Like, defenses are loading up at this point. They're making life tough on a guy like Bryce. They're loading up against Verge, and that's where we see Verge kind of get in trouble, where he gets the tunnel vision and he goes downhill and shoots a contested shot over the help defender, or tries to throw a behind the back pass to Derek Walker where the help side drops down and takes that away. So ultimately, I think they're going to try to find ways, whether it's off ball screens and cuts. And the thing is, they're doing a lot of the little things well as a team. Like, you look at kind of they're doing very well when guys cut. They're actually scoring well in isolation comparatively to a lot of teams. They're good coming off screens. The roll man has been very effective when they've been able to get him the ball. So they're small sample size again, but they're doing well in the post. So they are doing a lot of those other things very well. It's just the shooting is what they do most. They're bad in transition. They're bad in spot up. And the pick and roll ball handling offense has just been average at best. So that's the kind of the main parts of their offense right now are not working. And so you can try to shift things around and focus more on some of that other stuff, but ultimately you got to have guys that have those skill sets. And I don't know that simply trying, like, saying, oh, hey, drive more. It's not that simple, because of the way that teams are going to defend them based on the fact that they can't make shots at this point. So it's going to be a cat and mouse game all season for Hoiberg the rest of the way, trying to figure out ways to generate looks against what the defensive looks are going to be. But I think there does have to be some changes, at least in the meantime, until you can hopefully start knocking down shots at a slightly better rate. But you can't just simply sitting back and hoping that something will happen isn't a viable strategy for sure.
I want to ask you one more really quickly here. We're almost out of time. I want to ask you a little bit of a bigger picture question. I mean, the way that Fred Hoiberg and his staff, build a team each year, and now you look ahead next year, and you're probably losing Trey and Bryce. You're probably losing Lat Mayen. You have a couple other guys. You're going to have to rebuild and replenish that stockpile a little bit more next year. I mean, does it feel like they're doing it? They're having they found a sustainable way to build their roster every year?
Well, part of that was they actually did. People talk about flipping the roster every year, but they actually did have a core coming back this year.
Yeah.
The problem is Trey got hurt, and Lat Mayen has been a big disappointment.
Exactly.
And so that's most of your core right there. I think Derek Walker's doing everything that you would have hoped for and more. But outside of that, like two of the other major parts of your core that were supposed to be that consistent kind of foundation to build on, and then you bring the new guys in around them. It hasn't really worked out like you had hoped for. So now it is just a lot of pieces trying to figure things out at this level. So they're bringing in, you look at next year's class, they've got a lot of, they don't have a Bryce McGowens in terms of a five-star top end talent, but they're bringing in a recruiting class that's filled with a lot of multi-year guys that are, that fit specific roles, that could be good supporting pieces. And that's kind of what they're missing this year, is guys just haven't really lived up to what they were brought here to do. So I don't know if, it's always going to be a thing year to year. Now you're going to have to find a way to replace pieces. they do need to find some way to get some consistency from year to year, or we're going to continue to face some of these struggles. But it wasn't like they came into this year with an entirely new roster. It's just the core that they were hoping on it hasn't quite given them what they want, both. And part of that is because of the injury. But it's I don't know that there's they found a strategy. Obviously, they haven't found a strategy that works just yet at Nebraska, but that's going to be something that is that you have to continue to figure out, especially with kind of things shifting now with NIL and the transfer portal and all that.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Jacob Padilla of Hail Varsity. Jacob, appreciate the time as always. Enjoy the volleyball tournament in Columbus. Hopefully they come back with a championship, and we'll talk to you after Huskers play Kansas State on Sunday.
All right, sounds good.
That is Jacob Padilla of Hail Varsity. Appreciate him as always. Let's take our final timeout. We'll wrap up some final thoughts and get to a couple of your texts on the text line next on the Happy Hour.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. More of the Happy Hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
If your home isn't delivering the year-round comfort you expect, call the experts at Bryant. Warm and cool, comfort and confidence. Bryant Air Conditioning and Heating. Call 467-1111.
Tune in all day Wednesday for 93.7 The Ticket's coverage of early National Signing Day. Sponsored by Members Own Credit Union and Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric. It's early National Signing Day this Wednesday on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hey, it's Sean Callahan, and football season is here, and Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill has food and drink specials every night for all the games. Enjoy jumbo pork tenderloin for $8.99 and 90-cent wings for Monday Night Football, or come for Thursday Night Football with chicken fried chicken, steak, or pork for just $9.99 and $20 Coors Light aluminum buckets. Watch college football on Saturdays with an eggy sandwich for $9.99 and Coors Light specials, and catch NFL Sundays with Bloody Marys and more. That's Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe.
And now, a letter to Santa from the world of Yum.
Dear Santa, hi, how are you? I am well. Let's get to it. This year, Beatrice Bakery cakes for everyone. For my mom, apple streusel cake. For my dad, definitely the turtle nut cake. For my brother Jimmy, how about some of those chocolate-covered fruitcake squares? And maybe a couple of those for me too? In fact, give me more than you give him. For Mrs. Swanson at school, the chocolate.
Check out Grandma's fruitcake and all the delicious desserts at Beatrice Bakery. Welcome to our world of yum.
At Southeast Community College, we know that winter isn't even here yet, but spring is already on our minds. Registration for the spring 2022 semester is open now. Whether you want to get a head start on a 4-year degree, learn a new trade with a certificate program, or add to your job skills, SCC has a class for you. Spring semester starts January 10th. Learn more about our more than 60 programs of study online at southeast.edu. SCC, your path to possible.
Hey, sports fans. Rico here with HIS Auto Care 70th and Van Dorn. Carfax recently awarded us as a top-rated auto service center for 2020, and Lincoln Choice Awards voted us as the 2021 top independent auto repair center. Call us at 402-488-8934 for superior service bumper to bumper. Mention this ad and get 7% off. Doesn't get any better than that. Rico for his Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
Hi, this is Sean Callahan with Koppel Chevrolet GMC. New vehicle production has been increasing, but the lots will not be filling up anytime soon. In fact, most vehicles are being pre-sold and are leaving the same week as they arrive. If you want your new Chevrolet or GMC, this is a great time to build a vehicle and place an order. Our sales team will work right with you to build the exact vehicle you want. At Koppel, we appreciate your business and sell vehicles at a fair price. So come check us out or visit us online online at koppelcars.com.
If you're struggling to get motivated to work out, you're not alone, and Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping is here to help. Build muscle, burn fat, and lose weight with Farrell's 10-week challenge starting January 8th, all for a chance to win $1,000. Farrell's combines kickboxing with inclusive strength training and nutrition planning to help you stay on track. Go to fxblincoln.com to sign up today. It's the Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping 10-week challenge starting January 8th with 2 locations in Lincoln.
John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air's motto is our family serving yours. That starts with how we hire. We go through an extensive interview process to really get to know you and show you who we are. We want to help you build a great career, be challenged, have fun, and bring home an excellent weekly paycheck. We offer competitive wages with benefits, including a day off for your birthday. Apply to be a part of the John Henry's family at jhlincoln.com. That's jhlincoln.com.
John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air. You're listening to the Happy Hour with Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez Clary on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
So we have made progress on the numbing stuff in my mouth.
You can kind of smile.
You can see my right side of my mouth.
But you can still tell that it's numbed.
Yeah,
it's still a little lower.
I don't think it's been that bad today. I feel like I've been clear enough.
You've been good.
All right, cool. Thanks, Rico.
You haven't done your little. I'm not going to do the noise because it's disgusting and I don't want it. I don't want people
slurping.
to hear it. Yeah, you haven't done that, which is good.
I appreciate it.
There were a couple times. There were some words where you could tell it was like that's a little off. But you're good.
I didn't mean to.
You did good.
Pronounce it that way. Couple minutes left here in the show. We have some final thoughts. Everybody in every sport is having COVID problems. It's insane.
It's like when it first started. Like it was just, this person has it, this person has it, this practice, my bad. This practice is canceled. This team is postponing their next few games because they're dealing with an outbreak. Like it's weird.
Adam Schefter just tweeted this out at 2:37 today. After a record 37 positive COVID tests on Monday, results still are being finalized, but more than 25 additional positives are expected today per source. OBJ, I was just telling Rico, OBJ tested positive a little bit ago, so he will be in the protocol as well. The Bulls, their games were canceled or postponed, whatever. Tonight and Thursday's games, those were pushed back a little bit. So
Nebraska wrestling won't.
Thank you. Yes, yeah, Nebraska wrestling, their duel on Saturday,
January 4th against Purdue. I think it was January 4th. It's January. It's really early January, and it's against Purdue. I know that.
So, yeah, just a lot of problems going on right now. Also, that Monday Night Football game. I don't know. Did you watch it at all?
No.
Okay, so the Rams. That's fine. The Rams and Cardinals squared off last night. Impressive throw by Matthew Stafford to Cooper Kupp. Also, fantasy sidebar here. I'm in the playoffs with an 11-2 record here.
Fantasy sidebar for me. Okay. All 3 of my teams are in the playoffs, and I am a 2 seed in every single league.
2 of my 3 teams have made the playoffs. Anyway, but like I was saying, I had Cooper Kupp and I had James Conner playing last night. So the way we do it is we have like 2 weeks are one round, and you just add up the scores, and then the championship game is another 2 weeks.
Yeah,
and you just add up the scores. So this week I lost technically by like 7, but going into the game I was down by about 70. James Conner and Cooper Kupp both dropped 30 plus last night.
Hey.
And I am in good position because TJ Hawkinson decides not to catch the ball in Detroit. They just decide not to throw the ball to TJ Hawkinson when that's all you have. Yes, you have Amon-Ra St. Brown, and yes, you have DeAndre Swift when he's healthy, but you're Jared Goff on a team that is 1-10, 1-11 now.
Throw it to your tight end.
And you're not throwing it to a top 10, maybe a top 6 tight end in the league.
I had a couple of people like that on my team, but luckily the rest of my team stepped up. I don't even know who stepped up, but I had people step up scoring 20 plus. I was doing good.
It is unbelievable. I'm looking it up right now. We have about 20 seconds here. I'm looking it up. I don't even know if he had a target. And if he doesn't have a target,
I think you're doing something wrong.
That's a bigger problem.
And that's why Jared Goff is in Detroit.
That's a good point, Rico. Hold on, I'm pulling it up. I'm going to get this.
Hurry
TJ
up.
Hawkinson.
He's not going to get
Nope,
it.
nothing. We're done. Take care. See ya.
Adios.
Hi, this is Sean Callahan with Koppel Chevrolet